someone who has not gotten it together yet.
Yep.
Julio Rodriguez. Let's dive into J-Rod.
Yeah, it's been a very, very tough start for the year for Julio Rodriguez. And, I was hesitant to even talk about this at a certain point because when his career started last year, right, he was fine.
Yeah.
He was fine at first and then really struggled. But now we're seeing Julio fall to the 200 mark. He's down around the Mendoza line. He fell in the lineup from leadoff to sixth in the lineup. So from what we saw last year, from struggles for like a couple weeks to start the year, is now struggles over a month and a half of a season. And I really did some deep diving into what this could be from. Like, why is he struggling? What is going on here? Because he's way too talented of a player. And what I found is a couple things that were interesting. Last year, through the first couple months of the year, he had an average exit velo of 91.5. This year, it's 91.1, right? Around the same. Average exit velo comes from every ball you put into play, how hard you're hitting the ball on average. 45% hard hit rate last year compared to 45 this year. So to me, the hard contact is still there. The difference comes down to plate discipline. That's where we're seeing the massive, massive difference with Julio so far this year. His previous high for strikeouts in a month was 31 done in June of last season. That was only 1 month. There's only 1 month he struck out more than 30 times. This month, in the month of May, he's on pace to strike out over 40 times. He had 31 strikeouts in the month of April, so that broke his record of all last year. And in the month of May, he's batting .091.
Oof.
He had never hit below 280 in a month, but did that in April, and so far in May this season, .091. So the problem for Julio right now is plate discipline. Now, why does that happen? Well, pressure. Putting a lot of pressure on yourself. Let's step back to the offseason. New massive contract where he was tabbed to not only be the face of the Seattle Mariners, but the face of Seattle. All Seattle sports. This guy's becoming a superstar there and was given this contract, which comes with so much pressure that you obviously put on yourself because you want to do well by the organization and the people that believe in you. So I truly believe to start this year, we're seeing a lot of struggles from Julio because he's chasing a lot of pitchers, because he's putting too much pressure on himself when really all Julio needs to do is be Julio. He is one of the best players in baseball and becoming a face of this game because he's just himself. He doesn't need to do more than he did last year. He needs to do exactly what he did last year, and he will be okay. I just think so far to start the year, he's putting too much pressure on himself. And I think maybe dropping him down in the lineup to the 6th spot, as we're seeing today and the last couple of nights, will be hopefully beneficial for him.
I think people forget from time to time, especially with these young superstars, they're human and they are young kids. And yes, okay, you can have a great big moment in your rookie season, your breakout season, whatever it may be. But then you have to remember, I got to maintain that. I got to keep that up. And you're still human. You still have all the different feelings of excitement, nerves, everything that comes along, the pressure, as you mentioned, of being not only the face of a franchise, but the face of a city and possibly the face of the league, which was also the talk of everything, especially when you have such an incredible, what do they call it? Like the sophomore slump, which it's a very common thing. Like rookie year, incredible right out of the gates. This is a very common thing. Personally, I don't think there's a need to panic. It's still very early in the season. But yeah, it's a little concerning, but they're taking the right steps. Move him down in the lineup, take the pressure off, and just figure out what he needs to do. And players do like really weird things to try to snap out of these little streaks.
Yeah,
like
I told a story last week.
Yeah, the weirdest things. Whatever it takes, whatever he needs to do, it's a mental thing at this point.
We also need to remember that he is 22.
That's what I'm saying. He is a young kid.
22
He's a young kid.
years old.